Welcome. I speak to dozens of brands every single week, and I keep seeing this question recurring over and over again. So I'm making this video for the 85 brands that follow my channel right now to answer this question. Basically, everyone keeps asking me, what should we pay influencers, or what should we really offer in exchange for a post? Like, basically the point is, should we do affiliate? Should we do pay for post? Should we just send product and do gifting and seeding and that sort of stuff? Because the LinkedIn gurus have said that works. What should we really do here? So if you're in the same boat, if you're wondering that, hey, what should we give influencers in order to get posts and sales in return, although it's not very transactional like that, I'm gonna explain to you the only 5 ways to compensate creators, and then by the end of this video you'll understand the models and you're able to basically mix and match these money models in order to be able to create something that is favorable based on your brand situation right now. So let's begin. All right, let me move myself aside a little bit so we can start. I'm going to start off with methods that are slightly more affordable and then move on towards the more expensive methods so that every brand, we cover most of the situations that your brand could be in right now. So starting from maybe the most favorable way for brands to pay influencers is what I call something like product exchange. So basically in that situation, you're just having your product do most of the heavy lifting here. So let's say you send your product as a gift, and then there's an influencer here who's very happy because you sent them a free product. There's this influencer is 5 hair, and then in exchange, usually if they like your product, what they are going to do for you is they're going to maybe post a story or do some sort of a post or a reel about you, right? Something like that, and maybe you get some likes and sales in return. So this is the first way. I like to call it product exchange. Gurus on LinkedIn and Twitter would also call it seeding or gifting, but fundamentally, again, behind all the buzzwords, it's product exchange. You're giving them a product, and you are indeed, no matter how many people say no commitment or we don't expect anything in return, you do expect a post and sales in return. So frankly, it's product exchange. You're sending out product and getting posts and sales in return. So that's that. Usually most brands should be okay with this. The places where I see this work the best is when you have either you have a low cost product where basically your cost of goods is extremely low, or you have a high value product, in which case you have a very expensive product, such as, I don't know, you're selling a Peloton, or you're selling a microphone, or an expensive water bottle or something like that, where it's really expensive or high value. In both these cases, basically the two ends of the spectrum, where the cost is very low or your product is very high value, I see product seeding work really well, because at the low cost side of the things, so let's say you're a CPG brand and your cost of goods is $3, something like that. In that case, you could just send out hundreds of products every single week to influencers, and even if some percentage of them post, it's very likely that you're going to see a lift in awareness. You definitely are going to get content out of them, and for sure you're going to get sales out of them, because you can afford to just do so many repetitions that something's going to work. On the other side of the spectrum, when you have a high value product, you have to be more selective with whom you seed to, but then by the nature of the product being so high value, let's say you have a $500 product or a $800 dress that you send to an influencer, very likely that they are going to reciprocate with at least a post, if not a couple of stories as well. So those are the two situations under which I see product seeding works. If you're slightly in the middle of these two situations, maybe some of the other models might be better, which brings me to model number 2, which is again very favorable to the brand, especially if you're just starting out, is what I call performance-based payouts. In this case, you could call it affiliate. I hate using the word affiliate. Influencers hate using the word affiliate. You can call it ambassador program, something like that. But basically, again, these are all just buzzwords. Fundamentally speaking, it's a performance-based payout. What that means is you're going to pay influencers when they generate sales for you. So basically, in that case, there is you, let's say this is your brand or your product, and then there is the influencer over here. Usually this will involve some sort of a seeding or a gifting involvement, so you will definitely send them some sort of a gift here, or you would give them a massive discount on the gift. So again, it's not purely gifting. The influencer has a higher incentive to post, and they will post because they have a higher incentive, and the incentive basically is the model, which is once they get certain once they start getting you sales, they start getting paid. So you will then in return send them some money in exchange for the post or for the sale, basically. So yeah, that's that. That is my drawing of a performance-based payout. Usually is involving the same kind of structure of a gifted or a product exchange collab, where you are sending a free product, they are posting about you. It's just more maybe opt-in or more higher intent than just a spray and pray gifting approach, because in this case you will ideally reach out to the creator first. You will say that, hey, we're looking to make you an ambassador. Would you mind posting about us if we send you a free product, and we also, by the way, give you a 10% discount. We will also give your fans we'll give you a 10% commission, and we'll give your fans a 10% discount, something like that. So in this case, it's more monetary. People tend to post more when you just have the like the catalyst of money, making the system much smoother. So that is step number 2. Step number 3, or more like method number 3, is simple pay per post. So very transactional. Again, I don't recommend this for everyone. I recommend mainly this stuff to people who have figured out their cost of acquisition and can just afford to pay influencers. More often than not, I do recommend method number 2, which is performance-based pay. But in case you want the speed of just getting content out and you don't really care how much you're spending, or you're just fine, you just have some wiggle room to play within your budgets, then sure, pay per post or get a deal. Basically, it's a situation where, again, you're very likely going to send them some sort of a free gift. Again, it never works without the free gift, unless you're turning your customers into ambassadors or influencers, which we can talk about later. But basically, you'll send them a free gift, and before the influencer, in this case, if you see the influencer posted first in the way I drew the drawing, in this case, you will be sending them some money, or maybe a lot of money, along with the gift, and then the influencer is pretty much guaranteed to do maybe 1 post, maybe 2 posts, depending on the deal you strike. They might be doing a bundle of posts for you, which might get you a lot of likes, and hopefully it also gets you sales. But this is the model where you'll pay the influencer and they will for sure 100% guaranteed post about you. So I missed adding the hair, so the hair is important. But so now the influencer has colored hair because they have more money, right? So yeah, that is method number 3. Method number 4, actually, I prefer so even if you do have wiggle room in your budget, I prefer method number 4 much over method number 3. And the 4th method is what I call a base plus bonus method. The best way for me to illustrate this is using an amazing chart such as this one. So you will have a base fee, something like, let's say the influencer charges $500. Instead, you would negotiate and pay them, say, $250 for the collab, and then they have uncapped earning potential from here on out based on the number of sales that they get. So they get a base fee. So let's say they get a base fee of $200, and they get an uncapped earning potential, which is the base plus now the bonus part, which is, let's say, a 15% affiliate commission uncapped on all the sales that they get. And obviously you can cap it at something, or you can maybe make it a slightly lesser percentage than your usual affiliate, and you can play around with these things. But the basic concept is that they get a base pay, which means their income is guaranteed. They're not, usually creators will be, especially at a certain size, they will be opposed to doing affiliate or performance-based posts, because they don't know how well your brand works, they don't know what your economics are and so on, or what your conversion rates are. In that case, a model such as a base plus bonus really hits it home with creators. Again, I don't see very many brands doing this, but this is favorable to both the brand, because you limit your downside even if the creator doesn't work, but at least you dodged a bullet and you did not pay their entire fee. And if they do work, they get commissions, which means they're paid more. And in most cases, we've seen that creators tend to post more often than not, even more than they over deliver, because they're just seeing the commission money flow in. So the base plus bonus model is, again, something I prefer more than just simply paying per post. It's the same thing above. Like, I prefer performance-based payouts more than I prefer simple gifting, because just the fact that there is some money makes the process smoother. And similarly, I prefer the 4th option, which is base plus bonus, over simply like a transactional pay per post model, because I just think that having that uncapped earning potential is something that most good creators really appreciate from a brand. Now we're done with the first 4 methods. I want to show you the final and the most expensive way to probably pay influencers, which is creator equity. Now, I'm not seeing a lot of people talk about this, but this is in a way probably the most expensive way to pay creators, because you are giving them a percentage of your company. Now, there is something that I've heard of as CSOPs or ISOPs, basically creator or influencer stock option pools. Just like you would have ESOPs for your employees, you would have CSOPs for your creators. This is something that's very new and emerging. So I really like method 4 and 5 for the fact that a lot of brands just are not simply trying these methods. And I recommend doing creator equity only with creators whom you know, maybe who you've worked with. Usually creator equity is not going to be the model which you start with, unless you already have an established relationship with the creator, or you just know them for a while, or they've been co-creating the product with you. Unless it's a situation such as like Global Ball with Prime, you wouldn't have creator equity as your first option when you're just starting out. You will very likely start off with something like an ambassador model, which is a pay for performance, or you would start with a base plus bonus pay per post. See who's working really well for you. Do it maybe for a year or so at least. See which creators are really about the brand. See who authentically promotes you even without you paying them anything. Those are the type of really good creators whom I highly recommend you get on your cap table. We've seen brands also raise money from creators, because hey, listen, there's all the big brands paying creators exorbitant sums of money to post about them, right? So the creators are rich, especially the bigger ones. So if they have some spare cash laying around, it's very common for creators to invest in startups. If your brand is something that really resonates with them in their way of life, and you have a mission alignment, I highly recommend you set up some sort of a creator equity arrangement with your influencers. So yeah, that is mostly it. These are the 5 ways to compensate creators. Again, to recap, you can do a simple gifted model where you're giving a product in exchange for a post, hopefully, or you could do a performance-based pay, or you could do some sort of a simple transactional pay per post. Ideally, you should do a base plus bonus method, and eventually, once your program matures, you're going to do a creator equity model where you're giving actual equity in your business to creators. So yeah, those are the only 5 ways you can work with influencers. I hope this video was helpful. Just like mix and match some of these. I recommend if you're a smaller brand, start with number 2, where it's performance-based pay. If you're maybe a little bit of a bigger brand, you could probably do number 4, which is base plus bonus. But yeah, I hope this is helpful. Just don't get caught up too much in the decision making of what you should start with. Start with maybe the early on, more affordable options, and slowly and steadily stick to each model for at least 2 to 3 months. See how it does, see how creators respond to your outreach, see the number of people you onboard, see the sales that you get, and then optimize from there on. Again, you don't have to pick one and stick to it. You can just pick one, do it for a couple months, and then switch it later on. Nobody remembers as long as you keep experimenting and keep building good creator offers. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful. I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe. Bye.